So, as Scott said, this is On My Nightstand, and I am Laura Cathcart-Robbins. Today we are bringing you an excerpt from David Crabb's memoir called Bad Kid. And I'm just going to tell you a little bit about David. He is an upcoming guest on the show, so you'll get to enjoy his episode soon. David Crabb's stories have appeared on the Moth, NPR, Buzzfeed, and RISK. That's with an exclamation point. His solo show, Bad Kid, was a New York Times Critic's pick, and his memoir of the same name was released in 2015 by Harper Perennial. David is currently a member of the Groundlings Sunday Company and a professor of autobiographical performance at Occidental College. He hosts the Moth and RISK, exclamation point, in Los Angeles, and you can find him at the David Crabb. All right, so the book that I said I'm reading from is called Bad Kid by David Crabb. It's a memoir. I'm reading from the 4th chapter called I Want to Wake Up. And in this chapter, David has gone to Christmas Mass with his parents who were divorced at this point in the story, but they feel like it's good for them all to spend time together. So that's what they decided to do. They went to Mass and then to Church's Chicken, and now David has just gotten home. By the end of the day, I was emotionally exhausted. I went to bed early, but I couldn't stop thinking about Jesus, in the bad way. As I imagined dragging a moist cloth down the length of his torso, it occurred to me that maybe instead of giving him a sexy sponge bath, I should ask him for help. So I closed my eyes and posed the simple question, Dear God, why do I like boys? I waited for an answer from on high until eventually I fell asleep, but I decided to keep at it. I started the new year praying all the time, in the car on the way to school, in the locker room, after gym class, during my lunch break in the library. Sometimes I prayed in sync with my sinful thinking, asking Christ to heal my wayward soul while I watched Greg Brooks' beautiful butt ascend the bleachers in front of me. At first, I asked God for his help nicely. Dear God, please help me get rid of the ideas in my head about boys. Please let me meet a nice girl who will marry me one day and have my kids. Thanks. Amen. But as the weeks passed, I sensed no improvement in my condition. I began to daydream about suicide. I imagined an elaborate cinematic death scored by Sinead O'Connor's Nothing Compares to You. In my fantasy, a camera descended from an overhead crane as my father found me bled out in a pink-hued bathtub surrounded by white candles. Trembling, he'd read the epic 12-page goodbye poem I'd left for him underneath a razor blade. He'd lift my limp body from the tub and gently lay me across his lap before raising his fist to the sky, creating a tableau that was part Pieta and part Platoon. As thunder rumbled and a torrent of rain was somehow unleashed inside the bathroom, Leonard would scream skyward, No! If only I'd accepted for you. But it's too late. It's too late. Suicide wasn't a way out, but a high-drama bartering tool for fair treatment. My dad would finally understand me, I thought, glossing over the fact that my being 6 feet under might get in the way of feeling accepted. Look, God, I eventually demanded, I didn't do anything to hurt you or anyone else. I love my parents, and I don't steal or cheat. The only sin I commit is lying, which I have to do because of you. And it's all your fault. You're making me a sinner by letting me be this way. So stop being a jerk and make me better already. Amen. I talked to God less like he was a deity and more like he was a negligent customer service operator at Verizon. I took the whole day off work and it's already 5:30. Where's the damn cable guy? As nothing changed, I became more fearful. The threat of familial rejection and social isolation of being gay was scary enough, but now there was something else, something worse. AIDS. In 1990, you couldn't watch MTV for more than 10 minutes without hearing about AIDS. Stay tuned for Madonna's new PSA about AIDS. Next on The Real World, in which someone struggles with AIDS. Here's TLC in costumes made of condoms rapping about AIDS. At first, I thought I could contract it through the air as if HIV particles floated around, waiting to slip in my pores as soon as I thought about something remotely gay. I became my own thought police during high-risk scenarios involving underwear catalogs or Johnny Depp scenes in 21 Jump Street. I even trained myself to avoid looking at Greg, whose dapper spring wardrobe and slightly blonder hair were proving hard to ignore. Something else was also hard to ignore. Greg's new girlfriend, Jill. Jill had a freckled face, pale pink lips, and a head full of long, bouncy blonde curls. I first noticed them together in the parking lot after school, leaning on the hood of a car and holding hands. Then I saw them in the cafeteria, sharing headphones and Mexican food on Taco Tuesday. Although we shared a second period history class, I didn't count Jill among the small group of less popular girls I called my acquaintances. One day, as we waited to be excused, I watched Jill reading a note from Greg out loud to her friends as they giggled and shrieked. "Oh my God, Jill," Paula Sims squealed. "He is so crazy about you." "I know, right?" cooed Jill, clutching the note to her chest and rolling her eyes skyward. "I think I love him." As the group of girls tee-heed and swooned, I fantasized that a bolt of lightning would suddenly tear through the roof of the classroom and rip Jill's head clean off her shoulders. "Are you sick, David?" someone asked me. I turned to see my desk neighbor, Patty Marks, a mousy brunette with pale, meaty cheeks and hazel, almost yellow eyes. Patty was smart, quiet-natured, and generally regarded as a bit of a Jesus freak. "Oh yeah, Patty," I answered, realizing that my face had been stuck in a contorted sneer as I watched Jill. "It's just my, stomach." "Here, drink this," she said, reaching into her brown paper lunch bag. Patty passed me a can of ginger ale and flashed a bashful smile. "But Patty, it's your drink, and I—" "No, it's okay. I can drink water," she said, nervously fondling her crucifix necklace. "Oh, and this is for you," she added, sliding over a tiny red envelope. Oh no, I thought. Jill's love note suddenly made sense. It was Valentine's Day. Seconds later, the bell saved me from having to read Patty's note in front of her. "Thanks," I blurted, before running into the hallway to look at the card, which pictured Alf holding an armful of red roses under the phrase, "Be mine." The rest of the day was excruciating. Girls skipped elatedly down the hallways holding heart-shaped boxes of chocolate. Boys walked bashfully, holding cheap red gas station roses for their girlfriends. Juniors and seniors sucked face against the lockers uninterrupted, knowing that the administrators would let their public displays of affection slide. It was all so loud, so cringeworthy, so desperate. I told myself that I was merely offended, but in truth, I wanted to be part of the ritual too. Looking down at Alf's big, pleading eyes on Patty's card, I thought maybe it was time to give it a go. After all, I had been asking God for a girlfriend for 2 months. Maybe Patty could make me realize that I loved her above Ricky Schroeder, Mackenzie Aston, Patrick Swayze, and the Tom Selleck lookalike my mom used to date, half of the new kids on the block, and the entire model cast of International Male Catalog. The next day, I slid Patty a card that asked, "Want to go steady?" She passed it back with the yes box checked and smiled at me. It was as easy as pie. I had a girlfriend.